You promised me forever, but you only delivered moments of pain I'll never forget. You turned my heart into a battlefield, where love was the casualty every time. You were the shadow behind every smile, the tear I hid but never shed. Among all the people who touched my soul, you left the deepest scars. You broke the promise of love with every careless word and action. Your love was a storm that swept away my dreams, leaving only wreckage behind. You bear the cruelest lesson in trust, teaching me to guard my heart forever. You made me feel invisible in the very relationship where I craved to be seen. You were the silence that screamed louder than any argument we ever had. The worst heartbreak is knowing someone you love never truly loved you back. You showed me how love can become a cage, locking away the person I was. You shattered the reflection I once saw in your eyes and left me empty. Your love was a mirage, beautiful from afar, but hollow and painful up close. You were the poison I drank, believing it was the sweetest elixir. Among all the promises you broke, the worst was breaking my faith in us. You took my love for granted, and that made you the worst I've ever known. You were the cold wind that froze the warmth right out of my heart. The worst pain isn't losing you. It's learning that you never truly cared. You were the weight that dragged me down, disguised as the love I needed. Your love was a mask hiding the truth I never wanted to see. You made me believe in a future that was never real. Among all the lies I heard, yours were the most damaging. You stole my peace with the love that only brought chaos. The worst part isn't the heartbreak, it's realizing you were never mine. You broke me in ways that left no visible scars, but deep wounds within. You turned my hope into ashes, leaving me to rebuild alone. Your love was a cruel game, and I was the only player who lost. You made me question everything I believed about love and trust. You were the worst kind of betrayal, silent, subtle, and unforgettable. Your love was a fading light, slowly dimming until nothing remained. You promised me the stars, but gave me endless nights of darkness. You were the cruel silence after every hopeful word. Among all the loves I lost, you were the one I couldn't let go of. You taught me that sometimes the worst pain comes from those we trust most. You broke me slowly, one moment at a time. Your love was a fire that burned without warmth or mercy. You were the storm that left me drowning in my own tears. Worst part was loving you. Even when you were breaking me, you made me forget who I was before you came into my life. Among all the people I've loved, you made me question my own heart. You shattered the dream of us with every careless breath you took. You broke promises like they meant nothing. And to me, they meant everything. You made me feel small in the biggest moments. Among all the lies I heard, yours hurt the most deeply. You were the storm I begged to pass, but it never did. You broke me so quietly that no one noticed the pieces falling apart. Your love was a trap, and I was caught without a way out. You made me question if love was ever worth the pain. Among all the heartbreaks, yours left the deepest wound. You were the cold that stole the warmth from my soul. You promised forever but left only fleeting moments of misery. You broke my trust with every lie you whispered. Your love was a maze with no exit, and I was lost inside. You broke my heart in silence, where no one could hear. Your love was a storm that promised rain but brought only destruction. You left me drowning in a sea of broken dreams. You were the poison disguised as medicine I foolishly took. You shattered the trust I once held sacred. You made me feel lost in the place I called love. Among all the people I loved, you were the cruelest. You broke me in ways words can't describe. You were the echo of broken promises, the ghost haunting every corner of my heart. Among all the love stories I've lived, yours was the one I wish I never started. You made me question my worth with every careless word, proving you're the worst pain I've endured. Love with you was a lesson in despair, bitter exhausting, and utterly heartbreaking. You hid your true self, the charming smiles, and that mask made you the worst I ever knew. The worst love is the one that leaves you wondering what you missed, and I missed everything with you. You didn't just fail to love me right, you made me forget what love was supposed to feel like. Your silence was louder than any fight, and in that silence, you broke me. You were the wound that never healed, the memory I regret keeping alive. Among all the faces I've loved, yours became the one I fear remembering. Every moment with you was a battle for peace, a fight I lost every time. You promised the stars, but left me staring at empty skies. Your love was a cage disguised as freedom, and I was trapped willingly. You were the worst kind of fire, one that consumes everything without warmth. I gave you my heart like a gift, but you treated it like a burden. You were the silence in my laughter, the darkness behind my smile. Among all the lies I heard, yours were the most convincing and the most damaging. You made me doubt my own happiness, and that's the worst betrayal of all. The worst part isn't the pain. It's how you made me forget how to trust. Every goodbye with you was a small death, and I buried a piece of myself each time. You were the shadow in my brightest dreams, the weight dragging me down. You taught me that some people enter your life only to break it. Your love was a slow poison, disguised as a sweet remedy. You were the worst kind of addiction, one I knew was harmful but couldn't resist. Among all the lessons love has taught me, yours was the harshest. You made me lose sight of who I was, and that's a pain no one sees. Your words were daggers wrapped in silk, beautiful but deadly. You broke me quietly, slowly, until I didn't recognize myself. You were the storm I begged to bask, but it only grew stronger. Every moment with you was a test I didn't want to take, and failed. You were the worst lie I ever told myself in the name of love. You promised forever, but gave me only moments of misery. Your love was a maze without an exit, and I was lost inside. Among all the people I've known, you were the one who made me question love's meaning. You made me believe I was the problem, when really, you were the storm. You took the light from my eyes and left me in darkness. Your love was a cruel joke, and I was the punchline. You were the cold that froze my heart in the middle of summer. You promised safety, but delivered chaos. You were the worst kind of addiction, painful, toxic, and impossible to quit. You broke me in ways I didn't know were possible. Your love was a prison I willingly entered, but I never found the key. You were the poison that tasted sweet, and I drank it all. Among all the loves I've lost, yours hurt the deepest. You made me forget how to smile without pain. You left wounds invisible to others but impossible for me to ignore. You were the worst kind of storm, unpredictable, destructive, and relentless. Every moment with you was a battle for my own sanity. You were the cruelest chapter in the book of my life. You promised me the stars but left me with empty hands. You were the shadow that followed. May even the brightest days. Your love was a riddle I never solved, only suffered. You made me question what love truly means. You broke my heart in silence, where no one could hear the cracks. You were the worst among all because you never really tried. You made me lose myself in the process of loving you. Your love was the hardest lesson I ever had to learn. You say you care, but your actions scream otherwise. Among all I've ever loved, you proved to be the worst kind of heartbreak. I gave you all my trust, my time, my soul, only to realize you are the darkest shadow in a line of faded memories. Not every storm destroys, some just teach. But you were the one who tore down everything I believed in. You were the cruelest lesson, the bitterest regret, the worst story I never wanted to tell. Yet here I am, living it. Love was supposed to heal, but with you, it only bruised deeper, leaving scars that still whisper your name in pain. Among all the people I've dated, you turned out to be the one who made me question love itself. You didn't just break me. You shattered every piece of hope I had left for a future together. You were a masterpiece of deception, beautiful on the outside, but toxic to the core, and the worst I ever knew, becoming the worst chapter in my love story. In a sea of heartbreaks, you were the tsunami that wiped out everything I thought I wanted. It's painful when the worst person you've dated looks back at you with innocence, hiding all the damage they caused. Every moment with you felt like walking on broken glass, sharp, relentless, and leaving wounds no one could see. With every word you spoke, you built walls of lies so high they became the prison I never escaped. Being with you was like chasing shadows. The more I tried, the more I lost myself. You showed me the darkest parts of love, teaching me that sometimes the worst is hiding in plain sight. In your presence, I was invisible, my feelings dismissed, and my worth forgotten. The worst kind of love's betrayal. The worst part isn't that you hurt me, it's that I once thought you were my forever. You poisoned my heart slowly, and now I'm left trying to heal from a love that was never real. You were the nightmare I woke up to every day, disguised as the love I once wanted so badly. The worst kind of love is the one that makes you lose yourself and forget who you were before. Among all the people I've met, you were the one who made me question my own sanity. You didn't just break promises, you broke the very foundation of my belief in us. Your love was a mirage, beautiful but empty, leaving me stranded in a desert of loneliness. You taught me that not every love story ends with a happy heart. Some end with shattered dreams. I lost more than time with you. I lost the version of me that believed in happily ever after. You were the storm I never saw coming, and your chaos destroyed everything I tried to build. The worst part is how you made me feel like I was the problem, when all along, you were the storm. You wore a mask so convincing, I forgot how to see the truth beneath your lies. I gave you my trust, my love, my everything, and you crushed it like it was nothing. You made me a stranger to myself, tangled in a love that was anything but kind. The worst part about dating you was realizing how deeply someone could want without remorse. You weren't just the worst lover. You were the worst teacher of how love should never be. Your love was a trap disguised as a gift, and I was the fool who accepted it blindly. Among all the heartbreaks, yours was the deepest cut, the one that still bleeds. You showed me that sometimes love hides cruelty in the most beautiful forms. You were the fire that burned me, not to warm, but to destroy. Every lie you told was a dagger to the heart, making you the worst pain I ever knew. You shattered my trust and left me to pick up pieces I didn't even know were broken. You were the worst among all, because you never even tried to be better. Your love was a storm that promised rain but brought only destruction. Being with you was a battle I never wanted to fight, but lost anyway. You were the shadow in my brightest days, the weight on my lightest steps. The worst pain isn't losing you. It's realizing you were never truly mine. You took my heart hostage and held it ransom for a love that was never real. Among all I've dated, you were the echo of everything I hoped I'd never hear again. Your love was a lesson in loneliness, a cruel teacher that left me empty. I lost my way in you, and that's why you'll always be the worst I ever loved. Your love was a lie I chose to believe, and the worst truth I ever faced. You turned love into a battlefield where I was the only casualty. Being with you was like drowning while wearing a mask. You were the poison I swallowed thinking it was medicine.